Welcome back to another JDMKE episode. In this episode, we're going to be going through just sort of miscellaneous things with the engine, figuring out routing, sensors, routing of lines, sensors, and trying to finish up the intake side of things with gaskets and all that jazz. So we're going to kind of just get to work right away and start picking away at all the miscellaneous jobs. There's like a million,
just little stuff,
just small things that we need to like go through, but they're also things that you got to kind of pay attention to because it's all turbo versus non-turbo, non-VVTi versus VVTi. It's got
and all new fuel systems and all that stuff.
It's all changed, so it's things that you got to pay attention to. So we're going to kind of just start running through the list that we have and knocking out little jobs to get us closer and closer. So one of the things we needed to do was modify these bolts here. They are too long. The GE ones that we had were too long, and I didn't get anything. The lovely person that sold me to this GT manifold at an inflated price did not include any of the hardware, so that probably would have worked with this, but we just trimmed down GE ones, and those are looking good. That's what you saw with our cool Vice setup outside. Sam did a phenomenal job. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull off this upper intake manifold, and we're going to finalize everything. We're going to put the gasket on here for the intake manifold, for the intake manifold. We're going to do this gasket up against the block. We're going to do this whole fuel system. We're going to try and get that all squared away.
Yeah, we're just going to tighten everything down and kind of get it in its final spot. And that way we don't have to mess with this anymore.
And then we're going to get into finalizing places for sensors here. But we're just going to start getting after it and doing a lot of little things to this thing today. And Sam is loosening up the V-band. Is it a V-band?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we can clock this turbo. As of right now, and now with everything we've been doing, the drain is actually rotated all the way to the top.
The drain's on the top.
The drain is right here, so that has kind of limited us. So we loosened up all of these. That allows the front,
the compressor housing,
and this is the exhaust housing, and that's the cartridge.
Yeah, something like that.
Great. So that allows us to spin the... Okay, cool. So that's the feed. I'm told that in here is a pre-installed oil restrictor. Is there any way to validate that?
We could try looking.
Is that an oil restrictor?
To be honest, I don't know either, and that kind of makes me feel stupid. I would think something that's shaped like that is actually like a seat for, like a cone
for the line
shaped,
to go.
Yeah.
All right, so Sam's going to tighten that down so that the cartridge has the drain facing down, because we need to figure out the drain situation.
It's a long bolt.
What, do you need a deep socket?
Kinda. It's like right on the cusp. Like I said, I'm going to try to scratch up your valve covers here.
I'm staring at it.
I know. Watchdog.
Cool. So feed, now we're going to try out, go grab our line and, run that from where we want the feed to go from over. Okay, so in the last couple minutes since we last spoke, we discovered that we do have a drain. This is included with the turbo. So we're going to install this drain, and we're going to kind of see, what kind of line we would need, what kind of clearance we have. Yeah, Sam's just cranking down that drain. And locally, I found a place that makes lines for this. This is Dash 10. So yeah, that right there is where...
Yeah, I guess that's probably the best place to put it.
And then that'll definitely have heat shielding on it too. I mean, we'll have to account for that because that's going to be like touching the freaking manifold. All right, and then the other part that we learned in the last couple minutes is, like I said, when you look on the website for the Pulsar turbos, it says that with this specific turbo, it's a ball bearing turbo. Ball bearing turbos need small amounts of oil, which is why you need a restrictor installed. So when I was going back and forth with Sam, I was talking about the restrictor. Here's what we're talking about. So this sits right here for the feed. And then that is what limits your flow of oil, which sounds like such a crazy thing that you definitely don't want to happen, but in this case you do. And now I have this line here from, I think it's a very funny thing, C Money Garage. So thanks, shout out to my boy C Money. But I did like this option. One of the big things with the NA conversion is that there's no oil feed on the exhaust side. So the thing that I did like about this is I thought it gives a pretty clean setup. It's supposed to run around this way and under.
So we had a bunch of options for oiling, oil getting to the turbo, oil filter, oil cooler, relocation, all that kind of stuff. So this is the factory, what, GE?
That is the factory GE.
So this is the factory adapter piece. I mean, it's interesting to call it an adapter because it's a factory piece, but if you look, this is essentially your oil filter boss. You know, like you could, if this had a stud in it, you could just screw an oil filter right onto here. You know, you have this nice flat sealing surface or whatever. So from the factory, this is what came bolted onto here, and you get your oil feed through the center, which would be through this big hole here in the block. And then in this case, it flows through this bolt, through these holes in the bolt. There's a hollow bolt into this side, into this, there's like a port here, goes into here, and then in through the center here. So this is kind of a similar, you know, you can see it's kind of a copy of that. This is the sandwich plate adapter that we got for this to give us a couple more ports. So we can just bolt this onto where the factory oil filter would go. And then return through the sides. Same thing here, return through the sides, go through that hole. This was another option that we talked about, which was, what is this from again?
Well, it's from a GE VVTi. They use this on a IS300. I believe a sensor is here, like maybe oil pressure.
If we used this bolt, we would have to use this T.
Yes.
But
and then that would technically take care of our issue. But
well, it would solve the problem, but this would stick way out.
I don't like that.
And you'd have an oil pressure sensor on the end of that.
Yeah.
Well, we just decided this would be a little bit cleaner, and like it would change less things, kind of, because pretty much all we're doing as far as like moving things around here is spacing the oil filter out about an inch. And so that doesn't move too many other things around. And that gives us actually three ports we can run individually without having to have any sort of a T or anything else. We can just run oil pressure sensor and turbo oil feed. And we have our VVTi supply over here in the block where the oil pressure sensor used to go. So that takes us from having one port to the three ports that we need.
Everybody knows you have way more fun with more than one port.
That's right.
Okay, so next we have where we're going to put our oil pressure sensor.
Should I just slide this across the concrete?
Yeah, if you could, please. All right, so I'll give that. And then that will do, okay, so then we'll have finalize the feed for the turbo, which goes all the way around here and up over here and finishes up right there. And Sam is going to get this guy in there. So there's the Mishimoto sandwich plate, and then we've got the turbo feed, oil pressure sensor. So next what we want to do is figure out, we want to finalize this VVTi feed here.
Yeah, see, we're gonna have to move that around to get this on and off. So we should, you got your gasket for this?
Yes. All right, so Sam pulled the fuel rail. In order to get these lower runners off, we have to, you know, we unfortunately have to take the fuel rail out. I was hoping we could do it, but this fuel pulse damper is in the way. And honestly, this feed was pretty close to being in the way. So
yeah,
that's got to come off. But then what we're going to do is we're going to get a gasket in here, and we're going to put a little bit of RTV on these. I was reading the Powerhouse Racing install instructions, and they recommend in there that you can do that if you feel like they don't have a good fit, and we just pulled all of them out when we pulled out the rail. So
yeah, and we don't, if we're going to be running 65 pounds of boost on this thing,
no.
that is, you know, we got to make sure that that's clean.
Hopefully we're nowhere near even half of that. So we got a little dab of RTV on each one of these injector boss adapters right here. So we did that. That's making us both feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just because they did come out with the rail, and you know, we just wanted to do
Yeah, they
that.
kind of just fell out on their own.
Yeah, they kind of did.
So
Sam's just pulling the Dodo Racing lower intake manifold, and then we've got our new gasket here, which I thought would have a part number. I'll get you a part number for that, and I'll put it up on the screen. This is the GE VVTi intake manifold gasket. Okay, so there's the gasket that we've got on there, and then I think we'll just toss it right back on.
yeah, that's tight with the look, with the feed.
Oh yeah,
It's right up against it. Just get it on there.
Yeah, that feed is rather intrusive. Where we left off, this was all cranked down here. So that was torqued to 20 foot-pounds.
20, yeah.
That's what that beautiful, what is it? What kind of gasket?
It's a phenolic gasket with like a inlaid like rubber O-ring. It's really cool. It's nice. It's a heat barrier.
This is all torqued down. We made some adjustments here with the sandwich plate. That's why we got the AC compressor and the power steering on, because we wanted to see how everything was playing with the other items here. And, you know, honestly, pretty happy, right?
Yeah, it's working out well. This line here, which is, of course, aftermarket line, because for the VVTi head and a GE non-VVTi block, we have to have this oil feed for the VVTi system. You can see how close this tolerance, I don't know, fitment is between the intake manifold and this coolant neck here. This line had to be shortened. Adam took it to a race shop and had it shortened just a little bit because there was this weird kink in it.
Yeah, I'll pop a picture up, but it was like I contacted Drift Motion. He responded to me like I was an idiot. And I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know. This just looks really goofy, and it doesn't. The problem is that line is so stiff that it was like binding, like when you want to thread it in on the lower part.
Yeah.
So whatever. I had it shortened, and you know what? Looks really great now.
Now it's great. I mean, there's just enough clearance. You know, it's not touching anything. It fits really nice right now.
And then there's something I want to show you with the power steering pump, because that's another thing we're going to do here today is convert the factory NA pump. It has a reservoir that it mounts directly to the pump out
right
here.
up top.
And Sam, before I give you this, can you make that motion of the reservoir one more time?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
It sits right here up on top.
Yeah, right.
We'll see. See? You'll see how accurate that was. That fits right there. See? Look at that.
The issue with this power steering pump and reservoir is that once you switch to this forward-facing manifold, the factory one.
See, the factory throttle body and your intake and your tubing would go right here.
Oh my
which
God.
is right in the way of this.
That one got me.
Reservoir.
That one got me good. The quick solution to this, and Toyota makes all the parts for this, which is even cooler. Okay. So we take out that. There's just 3 bolts that hold that in. So these are the parts here. I'll throw some part numbers up. But you just need, there's an O-ring in here, which we already have some silicone on. The bolt that we used actually goes in the front of here.
Yeah, it was the one from the very front.
Okay,
But
it's
cool.
You see how simple that installation is? you know, Toyota part, which I'll throw the part number up, and that O-ring, and that's literally it. So that's how you do the modification for the pump. We just have, like I said, we just have the bolts just kind of sitting in here for all of this to check our clearance. And actually, we made a change as a result of that. We had our turbo feed here and coming out of the side. And
yeah, in fact, this whole plate was actually
rotated down.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
It was actually rotated even a little bit further. And we weren't using this port over here. And we just had the turbo oil feed here and the pressure sensor here. But then we also realized that we have a oil temp sensor to install here too. So we were going to have to use all three of these ports. We talked about possibly using the bolt with the port in the tip of the head, but
we already had three.
Yeah, there's already three here.
And
and we're already going to have to use this because if we need three ports, even just the one T without this plate wouldn't give us three ports. It would only give us 2 ports.
Yeah, so we have this bottom one here. That's going to be the turbo feed. And then we have oil pressure, and we're going to do oil temp right there. So,
and those will fit. It'll all fit really nice, especially because we're already going to have the harness kind of bundled up around over here. You know, you got your AC here, you got power steering here. We're going to have, you know, NOx sensors down here. So we're already going to have a harness, you know, a leg of a harness coming down here. And we're just going to have our 2 oil sensors right here, pressure and temp, right underneath the intake manifold. Got our turbo feed down here.
Yeah, I like the routing of that. Okay, so we're happy with this setup, and now I think we're going to crank the rest of it down.
So we're going to replace the seals. You got the seals for this?
I've got the seals for that.
Okay, cool.
So I bought the seals, and then there's also, I'm going to show you guys, there's a funky little thing, washer type thing that goes on that bolt. I don't know. It's very weird, but
it's very weird.
We'll take a look at that next. So here's the part number for the seal that goes onto this
O-ring.
That's the O-ring. So that's on there.
And then this seal, believe it or not, does come in the kit. I also looked in the kit. I'm not saying that you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I also looked and I didn't see it somewhere.
Yeah, so I ordered it twice for fun. And here's the part number for that goofy little washer thing that goes on the union bolt, is what that is called. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you know about that?
It goes right there.
Mr. Mechanic Man.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah, you heard of a union bolt before?
I don't know shit about a union bolt.
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time on the internet, okay? And not just that internet, boy. Okay.
That looks much nicer. It's got a little plump to it.
It's definitely not just flat. Surface is nice and clean.
We got our fresh...
our fresh seal is on there right there. All right, so, you know, not to bore you, but we're going to just crank all this stuff down and kind of get it in its final resting place for now. All right. I like what Sam's thinking about the line pointing down, and I think that's going to be good like that.
I think that's kind of naturally not in the way of anything, which is really what we want. I mean, we could always figure out a way to tie it somewhere, add a bracket even, you know, we could maybe even make something, pull this bolt out.
Yeah.
Make a little tie down for this thing to hold it in place.
So Sam's giving that the beans, cranking that thing down, and that completes that. The other thing we need to talk about, which I unfortunately do not have, is these two here. So these two things are for coolant temp. One of them is for the temp, which I believe is this green one. The other one just sends the signal to the gauge, which is, I think, the single wire.
Mm-hmm.
So those go in the head. Well, yeah. Where do they go, Sam? There?
Yeah.
Like those two?
These two right here.
Okay. So I need to buy those because apparently I gave them away when I sold my other head. I don't know. What now?
We could probably put the fuel rail in.
Okay. So we've got this thing laid out. Here's where we went from the last time. So fuel rail is installed. All of this is tightened down for our final installation. We have our harness routed the way we believe things are going to go here. We've got AC plugged in over here. This took us a while on this side, but Sam figured out that these go to the fuse box. the body harness. So those
Yeah.
all plug into there, which is great. So yeah, we have our harness pretty much set up to where everything would plug in, which is insane. We need those 2 coolant sensors that run up under here that go into the head right there and there. So we need those 2. We need an oil temp sensor, but yeah, this is great.
Yeah, so far everything's making sense, which is what's really nice.
All right, Sam, what I'd like to share with you here is something that none of these companies include. And
Yeah.
just look at the quality.
Oh my God.
A custom
No
printed.
way.
A custom
Hold on a sec.
printed. I knew you'd be jacked about this. Do you see this?
That is spectacular.
Look at this.
I don't need a smartphone and a computer in order to install a product that I purchased.
No QR code.
Holy fuck.
Sam,
This is
do
crazy.
you see this? Dude, unreal.
I absolutely love this.
Anyway, huge shout out to Fluid Amper. Yeah.
Well, I like the instructions. We will see how easy this is to actually put on.
Yeah, we're going to do this right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to have a slot to get it past the key.
Got support.
It's partially on there.
Yeah, I mean, do you think you can bring it home with the, does the bolt thread in?
Yeah. It do.
Okay, what about the new one? Do you want to put the new one on for this or no?
I would say no.
Use the old one
I would say use the old one.
to walk it on?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, if our voices sound different throughout the winter, that's because everybody's sick here all the time.
Yeah.
But that's because that's just natural.
Yeah, if you're unaware of how things work in the Midwest, if you're not from the part of the world or the part of this country that gets below freezing and then above freezing and then below freezing and then above freezing for 6 months of the year, this is how it works.
Yeah, you just keep getting sick.
Yeah, it would be nice to have something to lock the crank or to hold the pulley,
Oh,
because
well,
it's
you
going to
want
want to... maybe not. Okay. That feels really good.
does it?
Yeah, it's sucking right on. Here, get over here. Come check out how it's sucking on. Look at that. Look at that sucking action. Feels nice and smooth. Just gliding right through.
See, and this is what people talk about with these pulleys.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Full disclosure, they're $500. So there's that.
There you go. It's not torqued, but
Yeah,
it felt solid and tight. That was
literally it. And that's the thing is the other ones,
absolutely. I expected this to be an ordeal, to be completely honest.
there are like countless threads about how miserable it is to install the ATI one.
Well, yeah, I got nothing but good things to say about this so far.
Yeah, wow. Okay, cool.
Look at that.
And that's it. Wow. Sweet.
And look at that. Accurate.
0. Nice. Dude. Oh, and fresh crank bolt going on.
Yeah, look at that.
Mmm.
Then we got to give it a couple of ugga-duggas to get it torqued. But
Yeah, we're gonna have to put that. We'll have to hold the flywheel side. I'll show you the setup here. So all I did was put a war wrench and 2 bolts. I'm gonna hang out here, and Sam is gonna crank this thing to 239.
240 actually,
240 because
even though the spec is 239.
we're big Nissan guys.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh boy! Hold on. This bar does not feel like it's up to the task. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh!
There she is.
Opa! Okay.
It's torqued.
We decided to just torque that now. because we didn't want to not remember that.
Yeah.
So,
and we're really trying to tie up loose ends nowadays.
well, we're calling it a night.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them down there. If you think we did something wrong, you know, I've had a few people tell me little tips along the way, and I love that.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, hey, wait, I saw you do this, try this. And, you know, those are awesome. So keep it up, and we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're trucking along. This looks so great. I'm so pumped for this. And we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.